All right, take a look at what happened in Canada yesterday with the Rogers outage. ATMs, cell phones, 911. Who needs that anyway, right? Internet. I mean, look at all this stuff that was offline affecting how many millions of people coast to coast. And, all of a sudden, everything stops, right? You can't get your money out of the bank, you can't get cash, you couldn't come across the border, computers aren't working, you can't call for an ambulance, fire truck, cops, nothing. You can't call your friends, just nothing works. Well, what always works? Yeah, the ham guys, right? Guys and girls. So just a little while ago tonight, this is the day after, today's what, July 9th. On HF, I jumped on 75 meters and found some guys jarring. They had a real good signal here, so I jumped in and just asked them where they were at. So one guy was in Searsmont, Maine, using Google Earth, plotting from my town to Searsmont, 66 miles, give or take. Another guy was in Freeport, Maine, 121 miles, give or take. Another guy was somewhere in New Hampshire. I didn't ask him where. But from my town to the New Hampshire border, the closest New Hampshire border, 156 miles. If he's in southern New Hampshire somewhere, it's at least 178 to the border. Okay, that's as the crow flies. That's how radio waves work. Radio waves don't take roads. Now, these guys were telling me I had good signals to all of them. The guy in New Hampshire told me I was 20 over. So that is a real good signal. And we were talking nice and clear on high frequency, aka shortwave. And I was doing it with 100 watts of power. But as strong as these signals were, I could have dropped my power basically down to nothing and still done it. And I'm just using a half-wave dipole hung up outside. And that's it. There's no internet, there's no cell phone, there's no landline phone, there's no nothing. It's all done over the air. So that's why it's said that when all else fails, ham radio always works. Because as long as we can come up with a way to power the radio, get an antenna in the air, we're communicating. Whether we're doing it by Morse code, whether we're doing it by voice, or whether we are squirting digital. Now, granted, we're not going to be putting ATM machines and cell phones and all that type of crap on the air to make them work again. No, that's not going to happen. But we can communicate. And when 911 center's down, if it's going to be prolonged, you can put ham operators at 911 centers. And you can have ham operators in the field in various towns and cities, passing traffic back and forth. Because we have all kinds of space in the ham bands to be able to do that. And I mentioned that in one of my previous videos. So have a listen here and listen to how clear these guys were and how far away they were. Now on HF, 156, 121, and 66 miles, that's not that far. We go around the world. Sometimes it's kind of staticky. Other times it's nice and clear. It depends on what band you're on and how the band conditions are. But for the most part, we can beat ourselves around the state with pretty good band conditions.
to take a new med. And of course you're going to say, okay, really, what is that? Well, it's called Eliquis.
Oh, don't we all know that guy?
Oh, I thought so. Anyway, it's a new call to me. I'm Pete in Freeport. Anyway, welcome aboard. He does videos, and he's got the gift. I got it wrong, didn't I? All us people that are getting on in life to hear a song is 2,100 hours, so I don't think it's worth waiting for Carl.
All right, this short 3-second clip where it shows 7.237 on the display is up in 40 meters. I went up there and looked around a little bit, found this guy in New Hampshire. He was doing a contest. I jumped in real quick. He told me what county he's in. Threw it on my head, didn't care. Still, he was in New Hampshire. Worked him on 40. It's got a good signal. There's a little bit of noise on it. You can hear the difference between 40 meters and 80 meters tonight. Still communicating, right? So I'm not gonna trash on the CB users, the GMRS, MERS, FRS users, but at the same time, you are not going to be able to do that with that type of equipment. It's not going to happen. That's the bottom line. GMRS is way up on UHF. It's very limited range. It's low power. It's very line of sight. Yeah, you can use repeaters. Some people do have repeaters up. But you're not going to be stretching out across the state with 1 or 2 GMRS repeaters. Well, maybe way out west where it's flat, sure, you might be able to do that. But if you're getting holes and mountainous terrain, forget about it. CB, you don't have the power either, and you're on AM. Yep, you can get CBs with sideband, but still, conditions. Band conditions. MERS, you're on VHF, low power, no repeaters. FRS, you're back up on UHF, no repeaters. Very limited line of sight. So, you know what? There's people out there that will trash ham operators. You don't need that. You don't need that. You don't need that. All you need is GMRS. All you need is FRS or MERS or whatever, you know, whatever their fancy is. But here's the challenge. Reach across your country, Canada, US, Mexico, Germany. Reach across the country without using any infrastructure whatsoever with GMRS, FRS, CB, MERS reliably. Then do it in your state reliably. Does it work?